When it comes to officiating volleyball, the focus is often on the referees and the line judges, but the scorer and assistant scorer play an equally vital role in ensuring the success of the match. Scorers are responsible for recording the events of the match, including the points scored, serving order, substitutions, timeouts, sanctions, and unusual situations. The assistant scorer records replacements involving the libero and provides assistance to the scorer. In this video, we discuss the roles and duties of the scorer and the assistant scorer, along with the skills and professional attributes that competent scorers bring to the table. By watching this training video, you have already taken a big step toward becoming a competent scorer. So let's get started. The scorer's duties are numerous, and they begin long before the first serve of the match. That's why it's important that the scorer and assistant scorer arrive courtside in official uniform a minimum of 30 minutes before match time. Scorers are match officials and wear the same uniform as the referees and line judges. The uniform consists of a neat and clean white polo shirt, preferably one with the approved volleyball certified official logo on the sleeve. Scorers wear navy pants, white tennis shoes, and white socks. Just like the referees and line judges, scorers are professionals and their appearance is very important. PAVO certified scorers should wear the certification patch attached with Velcro on the right chest area and the current year certification year pin on the left collar lapel, unless the conference has a different policy. Upon arrival, the scorer ensures that the necessary supplies are available. First, there must be a table with chairs for the scorer and the assistant scorer, positioned near the court behind the second referee. Preferably, the scorers sit slightly off-center rather than directly behind the net pole. There needs to be 5 score sheets on hand, 4 non-deciding set score sheets, and 1 deciding set score sheet. The scorers will also need a Libero tracking sheet, blank lineup forms for each team, and the required writing instruments. The scorer needs black or blue and red pens. Make sure there are spares available in case the originals fail. The assistant scorer will need blue or black pens for the Libero tracking sheet. Many scorers carry their own supply of pens as tools of the trade. With the proper uniform and equipment, the crew is now ready to get to work. An NCAA volleyball match consists of the best 3 out of 5 sets, and the scorer should prepare score sheets for each of the potential 5 sets. Those include sheets for the first 4 sets, which are played to 25 points, and a score sheet for the deciding set, which is played to 15 points. As you can see, the score sheet for the deciding 5th set looks different than those used for the sets that are played to 25 points. When a deciding set is played, the teams switch sides of the court once a team reaches 8 points. This score sheet has 3 columns instead of the 2 columns found on the score sheets for sets 1 through 4, when teams stay on the same court for the entire set. Before the start of the match, the scorer uses a black or blue pen to complete the heading information at the top of the score sheet. The information is entered by printing in capital letters the following: the name of the competition or tournament, the place where the match is being played, the division, and date, day, and time that the match is scheduled to begin. The scorer will not fill in the time the set starts until the first referee authorizes the first serve. On the bottom right corner of the score sheet, the scorer completes the names of the referees, scorer, and the line judges in the spaces provided. The name of the line judge working on the first referee's side of the court goes on the top line, and the name of the line judge working on the second referee's side of the court goes on the second line. Be sure to circle the set number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. This much information should be completed before the match begins on all 5 score sheets, as the time between sets is minimal. Once the home team has selected its bench for the first set, usually about an hour prior to the match, the scorer can enter the team names in the appropriate boxes above the team scoring section. The team that occupies the court to the scorer's left is printed on the left side of the score sheet and is designated as Team A. The team that occupies the court on the scorer's right is printed on the right side of the score sheet and is designated as Team B. For the scorekeeping sample set that is covered in this training video, Eastern is the home team and they have selected the bench to the scorer's left. Eastern is Team A for this set. State is on the scorer's right and is Team B for this set. This information can now be entered. Once the referees have conducted the coin toss to determine which team will serve first, the scorer can record that information by circling the S on that team's side of the score sheet. The S is found in a box above the running score column in the center of the score sheet. In our sample game, Eastern wins the toss and elects to serve. The assistant scorer records which team serves first as well by circling the S near the team name on the Libero tracking sheet. Teams should submit lineups for each set to the second referee, who will review it and submit it to the scorer. The lineups show the 6 starting players and the positions they will occupy at the beginning of the set. If the team chooses to use a Libero in that set, the Libero's number is designated in the proper space. For the first set of the match, the line judges must be submitted when at least 3 minutes remain on the clock timing the warm-up periods. The scorers should enter the lineups on the score sheet and Libero tracking sheet at that time and double-check for accuracy. However, for set 1, the lineup can be changed by the coach until 1 minute remains on the clock without a substitution being used. If a last-minute change is submitted, just X through the original entry and record the change. For all other sets, the lineup must be submitted when at least 30 seconds remain on the clock timing the interval. Any changes made after the lineup is submitted require a substitution to be used. When the lineup form is submitted, the scorer must ensure that the team has designated a playing captain, the lineup form has been signed by the coach, no duplicate numbers are listed, and if the team is using a Libero, the Libero's number is designated. If the lineup form is not complete, the scorer asks the second referee to return the lineup form to the coach to get the missing information. If no Libero number has been entered, the second referee will confirm with the coach that no Libero will be used in this set. For today's sample set, here are the lineup forms submitted by the respective teams. When a complete lineup form is submitted, the scorer enters the starting players' numbers on the score sheet in the player number column in the order in which the players will serve. For the serving team, the number of the player in the right back position is recorded on line 1 in the player's number column. Since teams rotate clockwise, the second player to serve for the serving team is the player starting the set in the right front position. That player's number is recorded on line 2 of the player's number column. The serving order is completed by recording the number of the player in center front, followed by left front, left back, and center back. The receiving team will rotate one position when it earns the serve. The player who starts the set in the right front position is the receiving team's first server. Record that player's number on line 1 of the player's numbers column. The player in center front will be the receiving team's second server, and that number is recorded on line 2 of the player's numbers column. Enter the remaining players' numbers for the receiving team. When a Libero is listed on the lineup form, record that player's number in the space provided at the top of the player's numbers column. The assistant scorer uses the Libero tracking sheet to record the service order and the Libero for each team. On the Libero tracking sheet, SP stands for starting player. The assistant scorer lists the lineup for each team in this column and enters the Libero's number in the appropriate space. We mentioned before that the lineups for set 1 are final at the 1 minute mark on the warm-up clock. It is imperative that the scorer secures the submitted information. Teams are not allowed to see the lineups submitted by the opponent, and other personnel, like the stats crew or announcer, should not have the lineups before they are final either. To help the announcer, good scorers often write the starting lineups on a separate piece of paper that can be handed to the announcer right at the 1-minute mark. Before the match begins, the second referee uses the lineup forms to verify that the correct players are in their proper starting positions. At this time, the scorers will also check the lineups to ensure that the correct players are on the court and notify the second referee if there are any discrepancies. A libero is a defensive specialist who wears a jersey that is in contrast to the predominant color of the team's uniform. The libero only plays in the back row and can replace any back row player at any time. The libero is allowed to serve in one rotation. A libero replacement takes place between the end line and the attack line, does not count as one of the team's 15 substitutions, and is not recorded on the score sheet. However, the assistant scorer tracks the libero's entries on the libero tracking sheet. When the libero enters the court, the assistant scorer verifies and records the player's number that the libero replaced. The libero's entry is recorded on the libero tracking sheet by writing an L to the right of the replaced player's number to show that the libero is on the court. When the libero leaves the court, the assistant scorer ensures that the player the libero replaced is the same player who re-enters the set. If this does not happen, the assistant scorer must notify the second referee immediately. There must be at least one completed rally between two libero replacements, unless the libero is replacing the player in right back and is the next correct server. The assistant scorer must notify the second referee immediately if the libero does not sit out for a completed rally. The libero can only replace a back row player. The assistant scorer tracks which players are in the back row by placing a tally mark in the service column each time a player moves to the service position and contacts the first serve of that term of service. Once the server is known, the other players in the back row can be easily determined. The other two back row players are the ones who served just before the current server. This will be explained more completely in the sample set that you'll see later. Understanding referee signals, promptly recording playing action, communicating well with other officials, and maintaining focus keeps the scorers in tune with the events of the match. The scorer and assistant scorer meet with the referees prior to the match. The referees will discuss substitution and timeout protocols, how to handle requests for lineup checks, and recording sanctions or other unusual occurrences, such as an improper libero replacement. The second referee will probably cover some specific situations and the communications that need to take place. It is important for scorers to understand the referee's signals so results can be quickly and accurately recorded. Let's review the common hand signals that a scorer must recognize. The first is the authorization for service, or beckon. This signal from the first referee authorizes the server to put the ball in play. In most cases, the rally ends because one team commits a fault. A referee's whistle stops play, and the first referee will signal which team won the rally and scored the point. The signal that is used is one arm extended in the direction of the team that won the rally. When a team wins a rally, they will serve next. For example, the signal sequence for a ball that lands out of bounds looks like this. The referee whistles, signals the point, and then shows the signal for the ball landing out. In some cases, a rally is replayed and no point is awarded. This could happen when a ball from an adjacent court or other object on the court interrupts play. The referee shows the replay signal and reauthorizes the service. Each team is allowed 2 timeouts per set. The referees communicate that a team has requested a timeout by using the timeout signal and indicating the team. Teams are allowed 15 team substitutions per set. A substitution occurs when a player other than the libero is authorized to enter the court and take a teammate's place. The second referee acknowledges a substitution request with a whistle and the substitution signal. When authorized by the second referee, the players exchange at the sideline in the substitution zone, which is between the attack line and the center line. The scorer must always know how many team substitutions have been used and be prepared to quickly and frequently communicate this information to the second referee. This allows the second referee to relay that information to the coaches on request. The scorer always informs the second referee when a team has used their 12th through 15th team substitutions. Teams, coaches, and players can be sanctioned for violating the rules. In these situations, the scorer records the sanction in the box located in the lower left corner of the score sheet. There are two types of team sanctions: improper requests and delays. An improper request is assessed when a team does not follow proper procedure for requesting a timeout, substitution, or lineup check. The request is not acknowledged with a referee's whistle, but is prevented by the referee with no significant delay. The referees signal an improper request by putting the palm of one hand on the opposite wrist. The improper request usually is not formally assessed by the referees until the next time the ball is out of play. A delay sanction is used when a team delays the start or resumption of play, or is charged with a second improper request in the same set. The first delay sanction in a set is a warning. The referee signals by holding a yellow card against the opposite wrist on the side of the team at fault. No point or loss of rally is charged when a delay warning is assessed. The second delay by one team in a set is a penalty and results in a loss of rally for the team at fault. The referee signals a delay penalty by holding a red card against the opposite wrist on the side of the team at fault. Individual sanctions are assessed for misconduct and can be assessed against any team member, including players, coaches, and bench personnel. Minor unsporting misconduct is sanctioned with an individual warning, which the referee signals by holding up a yellow card on the side of the team at fault. No point is awarded to the opponent, but the sanction is recorded on the score sheet in the sanctions box in the lower left-hand corner. A second minor offense by the same team member in the same set, or a more serious offense by any team member, results in an individual penalty. The referee signals this offense by holding up a red card on the side of the team at fault. A second individual red card offense by one team member in the same set, or a major act of misconduct by any team member, results in disqualification, which means that the team member is dismissed for the remainder of the match. If a team member is disqualified, the referee holds red and yellow cards in separate hands. A loss of rally is recorded for the team at fault. Now, let's go over some sample match situations and review how the scorers record these events. In our sample set, Eastern's number 5 is the first server. As soon as the first referee authorizes the first service of the set, the scorer uses a blue or black pen to enter the time that the match started on the line provided in the upper right corner of the score sheet. Every time a legal serve is contacted, the scorer draws a circle in the team scoring section. The circle should touch the top and bottom lines. By drawing the circle at the same time as service contact, not before or after, the scorer can avoid the most common errors that occur and accurately track the events. Symbols other than a circle are used for special situations and will be discussed later. On every service, the scorer must visually note the number of the player who is preparing to serve the ball and compare it with the legal server on the score sheet. Since the scorer is sometimes still recording the results of the previous rally, the assistant scorer or visible scoreboard operator often assists with this task. If there is a wrong server preparing to serve, wait for service contact and then immediately notify the second referee. When the rally ends, the scorer uses one of the icons shown at the bottom right of the score sheet to indicate the result of the rally inside the circle. As soon as Eastern's number 5 contacts her first serve, the assistant scorer writes a tally mark in the service column on number 5's line. This indicates that number 5 is the player currently in the service position. Whether number 5 serves only once or several times in this term of service, only one tally mark is entered. Remember, the tally mark is just to show that number 5 is the current server, and the Eastern back row can easily be determined once that fact is recorded. Currently, the Eastern back row is 5, 12, and 11. Those are the only players that Eastern's Libero can legally replace. Let's get back to the action of our sample match. Eastern's number 5 serves the ball. Eastern wins the rally and is awarded a point. In the circle drawn when the first serve was contacted, record point 1. In Eastern's running score column, circle point 1. Player number 5 serves again, and Eastern wins another rally and scores a point. Record Eastern's second point by placing a 2 in the circle drawn when the serve was contacted, and circle point 2 in Eastern's running score. Eastern player number 5 serves for a third time, and the serve goes out of bounds. Eastern loses the rally. To record a loss of rally, write an R inside the circle drawn at service contact. State is awarded a point when Eastern loses a rally. Record point 1 for State without any surrounding symbol on the line of State's next server. In this case, that is player number 24. The point must also be recorded in State's running score. When a loss of rally results in a point for the receiving team, the point in the running score is marked with a slash. Eastern's Libero number 7 replaces number 5. The assistant scorer records the replacement on the Libero tracking sheet by writing an L just to the right of the 5 on the sheet. The assistant scorer must then ensure that when the Libero leaves the court, number 5 is the player who returns to the court. The assistant scorer must remain attentive for Libero replacements as they may occur at any time. When State number 24 contacts the serve, draw a circle. At the end of the rally, record the result. In this case, number 24 serves and State wins the rally. Record point 2 inside the circle and in the running score column. The assistant scorer records a tally mark to indicate that State number 24 has begun her term of service. State's number 24 serves into the net, resulting in a loss of rally. An R is recorded in the circle that was drawn at service contact, and Eastern is awarded a point. Record Eastern's third point on the line for the next server, number 1, slash point 3 in the running score column. State's number 24 leaves the court and is replaced by the Libero number 12. The assistant scorer records the replacement on the Libero tracking sheet by writing an L to the right of the number 24. The assistant scorer will then make sure that when the Libero leaves the court, number 24 is the player who returns to the court. Eastern's coach requests a substitution, number 21 for number 1. The players enter the substitution zone. The second referee whistles to acknowledge the request and then authorizes the incoming player to enter the court. All substitutions are recorded on both the score sheet and the Libero tracking sheet. To note the substitution on the score sheet, the scorer writes an S in the scoring section on the line of the player who is next to serve. Then the scorer will record the number of the player entering the court, followed by a slash and the number of the player leaving the court. An S is used to indicate that the serving team requested a substitution. If the receiving team requests a substitution, an S is written followed by a small X in the same spot on the score sheet. The scorer draws a slash through number 1 in the player's numbers column and writes in number 21. This indicates that number 21 is now on the court. Finally, the scorer will slash Eastern's first substitution on the team substitution line. A team is allowed a maximum of 15 substitutions per set. Remember, Libero replacements are unlimited and do not count toward a team's 15 allowed substitutions. The assistant scorer records all substitutions on the Libero tracking sheet as well. slash through the number of the player who is exiting, number 1 in this example, and write in the number of the substitute, number 21. Then slash the next number in the substitution counter below each team's segment of the Libero tracking sheet. The assistant scorer records substitutions in this manner as backup information to the score sheet. Usually, if the second referee asks for information about the number of team substitutions that have been taken, the scorer should answer the question if possible, and the assistant scorer should verify the response. The scorer and assistant scorer should communicate frequently as the set progresses to confirm that their substitution information matches. Next in our sample game, Eastern's number 21 serves 2 points, points 4 and 5. At this point, State's coach requests 2 substitutions, number 14 for 9 and number 8 for 31. All substitutions are recorded on the line in the scoring section where the next circle for service contact will be drawn. In this case, the substitution is recorded on Eastern's number 21's line in the scoring section. Remember, when the receiving team requests a substitution, the notation in the scoring section is an S followed by a small x. The rest of the process for marking the substitution is the same as when the serving team requests a substitution. In this case, number 14 is going in for number 9, and number 8 is replacing number 31. The scorer will record the number of the player entering the court, 14, followed by a slash and the number of the player exiting, number 9, and then 8 followed by a slash and 31. Mark the 2 substitutions in the player's number column and slash through the first 2 team substitution numbers. The assistant scorer also records the 2 substitutions on the Libero tracking sheet. Eastern's number 21 serves 2 more points, and the score is 7-2. State's coach calls their first timeout. To record a timeout, the scorer records the score in the top timeout box assigned to the requesting team. The timeout boxes are located at the bottom of the running score column. The score of the team that requested the timeout is recorded first. In this example, the scorer would record the score as 2-7. Conscientious scorers use the timeout period to review the score sheet to be sure all information has been recorded accurately. The assistant scorer does the same with the Libero tracking sheet. This is a good time for the scorers to compare data on team substitutions that have been taken. The assistant scorer also verbally informs the second referee about whether each team's libero was on the court or on the bench when the timeout was requested. Following the timeout, Eastern's number 21 serves another point. The state coach requests a substitution, number 16 for number 8. The substitution is recorded on the score sheet in the 3 areas previously discussed: in the player's numbers column, in the scoring section on the line where the next service contact will be recorded, and in the team substitutions area. After the substitution has been authorized and the first referee is preparing to authorize the next service, the state coach asks the second referee for another substitution. The referee assesses state with an improper request. Improper requests are recorded in the sanctions box. The scorer enters a slash in the column marked IR and writes B in the AB column, indicating the sanction was assessed against State, who is Team B in this set. Then record the score at the time of the infraction, with State's score listed first, 2-8. Eastern's number 21 serves, and during the rally, the referee calls a lift on Eastern. The loss of rally results in a point awarded to State. Record the loss of rally in a circle with an R, slash point 3 in the State's running score column, and record point 3 in State's scoring section on the line of the next server, number 22. Eastern's number 21 verbally disagrees with the call and expresses her displeasure to the referee. The referee assesses number 21 an individual warning, signaled with a yellow card. To record the sanction, the scorer writes the player's number in the YC column in the sanctions box. indicates whether Team A or Team B received the sanction, and the score, with the team at fault's score first. In our example, 8-3. State's number 22 serves 2 points. The third time that number 22 serves, State loses the rally, resulting in point number 9 for Eastern. Eastern's number 17 serves 2 points. The next time number 17 serves, Eastern loses the rally. The score is 11-6 after State is awarded the point. It is important that the scorer ensures that the visible score is accurate after each point is recorded on the score sheet. If there is a discrepancy, the scorer must have the visible scoreboard corrected. Assuming the score sheet is kept accurately, it is the official score of the set. State number 2 serves. During the rally, a ball from an adjacent court interrupts play. The referee whistles and signals a replay, which is recorded by writing a P in the circle that was drawn when the serve was contacted. State number 2 serves 3 times, and State earns points 7, 8, and 9. The score is now 9-11. The fourth time that number 2 serves, an Eastern player hits the ball out of bounds, and the referees signal another point, point number 10, for State. Eastern's number 21 screams at the referee, claiming there was a touch by State. Since this is number 21's second unsporting act in this set, the first referee sanctions number 21 with an individual penalty, a red card. An individual penalty results in a point for the opponents. To record a penalty point, the scorer will draw a square instead of a circle on the line of the current server. The square indicates that a point was awarded, but no serve took place. The point number, in this case 11, is written inside the square. A square is drawn around the corresponding point in State's running score column to indicate the penalty point. To record the sanction on the score sheet, the scorer records the player's number, 21, in the RC column in the sanctions box, indicates which team received the sanction, in this case A, and the score, with the team at fault score first, 11-10. Note that when a penalty point is awarded, the score recorded in the sanctions box is the score at the time of the sanction, not what the score becomes as a result of the sanction. In this case, the score will be written 11-10, even though assessing the red card results in a score of 11-11. State's number 2 serves the ball into the net, resulting in a loss of rally and the 12th point for Eastern. Eastern's number 33 is the scheduled server, but the Libero remains on the court to serve in place of number 33, who leaves the court. Number 5, who the Libero replaced earlier in the set, returns to the floor in the front row. The assistant scorer notes this on the Libero tracking sheet by writing a 5 next to the L, indicating that number 5 has returned to the court, and then recording that the Libero replaced number 33. The Libero will serve for number 33. When the Libero, number 7, serves the ball, the scorer will draw a triangle around the Roman numeral in the serving order column that corresponds to her service position. In our example, the scorer draws a triangle around Roman numeral 4. This indicates that the Libero may serve only in this position for the current set. The assistant scorer also draws a triangle around Roman numeral 4 in the serving order column to indicate the Libero's serving position for this set. When the Libero serves, a triangle is used instead of a circle in the scoring section of the score sheet. The results of the rally are recorded in the triangle. A triangle is also used in the team's running score column to note any points scored while the Libero is serving. Eastern's Libero, number 7, serves 3 points. The points are recorded in triangles, and triangles are used in the running score. Before the Libero's 4th serve, State's coach requests a substitution, number 9, for number 14. The scorer records the substitution in the scoring section using the SX notation and enters number 9 in the State's players' numbers column. The 4th team substitution is slashed. The assistant scorer also records the substitution and slashes the next number in that substitution counter. Eastern's Libero serves 2 more points. State's coach requests the second timeout. The score is 11-17. At the end of each timeout, the scorer shows the number of timeouts taken by each team to the referees. State is slow in returning to the court after the timeout, and the referees assess a delay warning. The scorer records the sanction in the sanctions box by placing a D in the YC column, indicating which team is at fault, Team B in our example, and recording the score with the team at fault first, 11-17. Remember, a yellow card is only a warning, and no point or loss of rally is awarded. Eastern's Libero serves the ball, and Eastern loses the rally. State's Libero number 12 leaves the court, and number 24 returns to the floor. Let's take just a moment to review the Libero tracking sheet and how to use the tally marks to determine the back row. At this moment, we can tell by looking at the tally marks that State's number 9 is moving to the right back position to be the next server. Therefore, we can easily discern that the State back row players are number 9, number 2, and number 22. The Libero must be replaced by number 24 since that position is moving to the front row. State's number 9 serves 2 points. On the third serve, State loses the rally. Eastern's number 11 is the next correct server, but number 12 goes to the service zone and prepares to serve. When number 12 contacts the ball for service, the scorer verbally notifies the second referee of the incorrect server. The second referee will determine whether to act on that information immediately or wait until the end of the play. The referees signal a position fault and indicate that Eastern loses the rally. The scorer draws a square instead of a circle in the scoring section on the line of the player who was supposed to serve, in this case, number 11. A square is used to record the result of a rally when a legal serve did not take place. If a circle was inadvertently drawn, the scorer places an X through it and then draws a square. An R is recorded inside the square, and a point is awarded to State. Record point 15 for State in the normal fashion. When there is a wrong server, a notation in the sanctions box is necessary. In the WS column, the scorer writes the number of the player who served the ball, in this case number 12, followed by the player who was supposed to serve the ball, number 11. The team at fault is noted, Team A in this situation, and the score at the time of the incorrect server is entered, in this case 18-14. State number 16 serves and scores 3 points. The score is now 18-18. Number 16 serves a 4th time, and the first referee signals that an attack by Eastern lands out of bounds and awards State a point. The scorer records point 19. However, the first referee then notices the second referee is signaling a touch on State. The first referee changes her decision and awards a point to Eastern. To show a referee's mind change, the scorer will slash through the circle with point number 19 inside. Beside the slashed out circle, the scorer writes an M followed by a square. Inside the square, the scorer writes an R to indicate the referee's ultimate decision, a loss of rally. In State's running score column, the scorer will X out the point scored and write an M in the margin. The M will then be slashed or circled when that canceled point is awarded. Eastern's 19th point is recorded as a result of winning the rally. Eastern's number 12 serves for 3 points. Number 12's 4th serve goes out of bounds. By winning the rally, State scores point 19, which was previously canceled by the mind change. The scorer slashes through the M that was written in the margin of the running score and records point 19 in the scoring section on State's line 6. State's number 15 is the scheduled server, but the coach elects to have the Libero serve in her place. Number 15 leaves the court, and the Libero, number 12, enters the court and serves. The scorer will draw a triangle around the Roman numeral 6 in the serving order column to indicate the position where the Libero served. The assistant scorer also draws a triangle around the Roman numeral 6 in the serving order column on the Libero tracking sheet. State's Libero, number 12, serves for 2 points. After the Libero serves for the 3rd time, State loses the rally. Remember, since the Libero is serving, triangles are used instead of circles. This ends the first round of serves for players on each team. The scorer will now switch to a red pen to record the second round of serves. The change of color is an aid in tracking the service order. Using a red pen, the scorer will write point 23 on the line of Eastern's next server, number 5, in Eastern's scoring section, and in the running score. The score is now Eastern 23, State 21. When Eastern rotates, number 33 replaces the Libero. The assistant scorer records the replacement. When Eastern's number 5 serves, the scorer uses a red pen to draw the circle. Number 5 serves and Eastern wins the rally. Eastern is now at set point. When Eastern number 5 contacts the first serve in this term of service, the assistant scorer records a second tally mark in her service column. The assistant scorer can easily see at this point that the Eastern back row players are number 5, number 12, and number 11. Those players could be legally replaced by the Libero. Eastern is now at set point. The scorer will indicate that a team has reached set point by verbalizing to the second referee or by placing an index finger on the opposite shoulder pointing toward the team that has reached set point. Eastern number 5 serves, and during the rally, State's number 22 is injured. The referee signals a replay, which is recorded on the score sheet. State's number 22 is unable to continue playing due to the injury. State has only 10 players, and all 10 have played in this set, so State has no legal substitutes for number 22. When a team has an injured player and has no legal substitutes for that player, the team is allowed to use an exceptional substitution. If a team becomes incomplete due to disqualification, the team is not allowed an exceptional substitution and must default the set. In our sample, State is allowed an exceptional substitution and enters number 14 in place of number 22. An exceptional substitution never counts as one of the team's 15 substitutions. To record an exceptional substitution, the scorer enters number 14 in the player number column to the right of number 22. However, the number 22 is not slashed but is circled to indicate that 22 was replaced by an exceptional substitution and cannot return to the set. Record the substitution in the scoring section next to the circled P that indicates the replay. Draw a circle around the substitution notation, again indicating that it is an exceptional substitution. The exceptional substitution is also noted in the comments section. The note should indicate the score at the time of the exceptional substitution, 21 to 24, the team involved, State, and a description of the events. Number 14 replaced injured number 22. The assistant scorer records the exceptional substitution on the Libero tracking sheet as well, using a circle to show that number 22 was replaced by an exceptional substitution. Because an exceptional substitution does not count as one of the team's 15 allowed substitutions, nothing is recorded on the substitution counter. The comments section is also used to record other unusual events, such as a team member being disqualified, a protest, or for weather-related disruptions. Once the exceptional substitution is recorded, the set resumes. Eastern's number 5 serves, and Eastern loses the rally. State's number 24 serves, and State loses the rally, resulting in Eastern's 25th point. A team wins a non-deciding set when it scores 25 points and has at least a 2-point advantage. Eastern wins this set 25 to 22. When the set is complete, the scorer records the winning and losing teams and their scores in the appropriate boxes in the lower right section of the score sheet and notes the time in the time set finished box in the upper right. After verifying that all information on the score sheet is correct, the scorer will sign in the appropriate place. Now that we've discussed the basics of keeping score for a regular set, let's look at the techniques used in a deciding set. A deciding set uses a score sheet with 3 columns instead of 2, because the teams will switch courts midway through the set. By using 3 columns instead of 2, the scorer can track the teams on the score sheet relative to the team's position on the court, even after the court switch. The team name and starting players for the team starting on the scorer's left is written in the far left column and the far right column. The team starting on the scorer's right will be written in the middle column. Before the deciding set, the second referee meets with the captains for a coin toss to determine which team will serve first in the deciding set. For our example, Eastern will start on the scorer's left. State will serve first. Here are the team lineups for our deciding set. When the lineups are recorded on the score sheet for the deciding set, the Eastern lineup is written on the far left and the far right columns, and the State lineup in the middle column. Until one team has scored 8 points, the scorer will record information in the team scoring section in the left and middle columns of the score sheet only. However, other information for Eastern that will be needed after the teams have switched sides will be recorded in both the far left and far right columns. This includes timeouts taken, substitutions, and the team's substitution counter. The running score columns on both the left and right are used until the teams switch courts at 8 points. This is so that the information is available and up to date when the teams switch courts. Team B's running score is only recorded in one place. There is also a special section on the Libero tracking sheet for the deciding set that accommodates the court change. The starting lineup for the team on the scorer's left, in this case Eastern, is entered on the far left, and the starting lineup for the team on the scorer's right, State in our example, is written in the center section. Only the far left section and the middle section are used to record Libero replacements until the teams switch courts. For the team that starts on the scorer's left, the tallies for the term of service are recorded in both the far left and far right sections. When a substitution is made before the court switch, the substitution counters on both the far left and far right are marked. When the teams switch courts at 8 points, the players who are on the court for the team on the left are recorded in the far right section in the column labeled CP, which stands for Current Players. When the teams switch courts, if the Libero is on the court for the team that started on the left, record both the number of the replaced player and the L on the far right, so that all information that is needed to continue recording the set events are on the far right section. After the court switch, only the middle section and the far right section of the Libero tracking sheet are used. The deciding game score sheet and Libero tracking sheet might look intimidating, but the techniques we showed you earlier are exactly the same. Let's look at a sample deciding set. State's number 15 serves first. She serves 3 points. Each time number 15 contacts a serve, circles are drawn in the center section of the score sheet only, on line 1 of State's scoring section. State's running score is recorded in the running score column just to the right of State's scoring section, where it is labeled B. State number 15 serves a 4th time, and State loses the rally. Write an R in the circle on State number 5's line, and record .1 for Eastern in both of the Team A running score columns, one on the far left and one on the far right. .1 is also recorded on line 1 of Eastern's scoring section on the left side only. Eastern's number 21 now serves 3 points. Note that the running score is updated on both the far left and far right. State's coach requests a timeout. The timeout is recorded in the Team B timeout box just below the running score on the right side. State's score is listed first since they called the timeout, 3-4. Eastern number 21 serves again, and Eastern loses the rally. The loss of rally results in point 4 for State. The 4 is recorded in the center scoring section only and in State's running score column. The State coach requests a substitution, number 14 for number 9. Enter the substitution in the State team scoring section to the right of point 4. In the State players numbers column, slash number 9 and write number 14 just to the right. Slash State's first team substitution in the center section as well. Eastern requests a substitution also, number 1 for number 21. Record the substitution in State scoring section next to the previous substitution. In both the far left and far right players' numbers columns, slash number 21 and write number 1 just to the right. Slash Eastern's first team substitution in the substitution counters on both the far left and far right as well. The information that will be needed after the teams switch courts must be recorded on both the far left and the far right. On the Libero tracking sheet, record both substitutions as well. The State substitution is only recorded in the center section. On the far left, Eastern's substitution is recorded in the normal fashion, but the substitution counter is updated on both the far left and far right. State's number 24 serves 3 points. The circles for State number 24's serves are only drawn in the center scoring section, and the running score is kept only in the Team B running score column. Eastern requests a timeout. The timeout is recorded in both the Team A timeout boxes below the 2 running score columns. Eastern's score is listed first, 4-7. Eastern's Libero replaces number 1. The assistant scorer records the replacement on the Libero tracking sheet. State's number 24 serves again, and the serve goes out of bounds. Eastern earns point 5 when State loses the rally. Record that point for Eastern on the line of the next server, number 17. Slash point 5 in both Eastern running score columns, on the far left and the far right. Eastern's number 17 serves 3 points, and the score is 8-7. When the first team scores 8 points, the teams will switch courts. Eastern will finish the set on the court to the scorer's right, and State will be on the left. To mark the action just prior to the court change as the starting point on the far right, the scorer will transfer the last action that was recorded in the far left scoring section to the corresponding line in the far right scoring section. In our example, re-record the circled 8th point for Eastern number 17 on line 2 of the far right scoring section. The far left scoring section is no longer used. When the teams switch court, the assistant scorer records the numbers of the current players for Eastern on the far right side of the Libero tracking sheet in the CP column. Since the Libero is on the floor, the number of the replaced player is also moved to the far right section. While the teams are switching courts, the scorer can use the time to review the score sheet and be sure that all information, such as substitutions, team substitutions, and timeouts, have been recorded on both sides of the score sheet. For the remainder of the deciding set, the scorer uses the center section for State and only the far right section for Eastern. The same procedures described earlier in the non-deciding sets are utilized. Remember, in a deciding set, a team wins a set when it has scored 15 points and has at least a 2-point advantage. The NCAA rulebook contains a detailed scorekeeping practice set and a thorough discussion of scorekeeping procedures. It is very helpful to review this information frequently and have a rulebook available at the table in case an unusual situation occurs. PAVO now publishes a new volleyball officiating manual that contains more information for scorers as well. The officiating manual and rulebook are published in even-numbered years. Each year, the Professional Association of Volleyball Officials holds preseason clinics for officials, and it's recommended that scorers and assistant scorers attend these meetings in order to stay aware of current rule changes and techniques. A list of clinics with dates and locations can be found on the PAVO website. Keeping score is a learned skill and takes practice. Volunteer to keep score for a preseason match or scrimmage at your local college or university. This will help you improve your skills and be ready for the season to begin. PAVO has developed a certification program for scorers. You can obtain information by contacting the PAVO staff by phone or email. Please consider earning this certification and become a true professional as a volleyball scorer. As you can see, a proficient scorer is vital to the success of every collegiate volleyball match. A conscientious and precise scorer is a valuable asset to any officiating crew. We are glad you've taken the time to review the techniques of scorekeeping and taking the job seriously. Good luck on your career as a women's collegiate volleyball scorer.